Hey, did you know that the Kellogg's summer football camps are in full motion and you can claim a free day? All you've got to do is head to www.kelloggsfc.com and enter the code 7349. Terms and conditions apply, subject to availability. Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees, and welcome to another episode on yet another legendary lioness. In this episode, we're going to be exploring the life and the journey of the goalkeeper who has an eye condition, but still has gone on to be the number one goalkeeper for her country and a huge reason why England won the Euros yet again. Of course, in this episode, we're going to be speaking about the truly remarkable, the unbelievably inspirational, and the all-round brilliant England and Chelsea keeper, Hannah Hampton. Firstly, before we get into this episode, we have a new club captain on Patreon. And remember, if you're a club captain on Patreon, you get a guaranteed shout-out, and then, if you want, you can have a shout-out whenever you want, once a month, every month, for the whole time you're a club captain. All you've got to do is ask an adult to send a DM on Patreon and your shout out will appear on an episode not long after that. Our brand new club captain we need to shout out is Harry Williams from Manchester, who says, "Hi Darren, I'm very pleased to become a club captain and I absolutely love the podcast. I am a Manchester United fan and I'm hoping we have a much better season this season. Please can you give a shout out to all my teammates at Tornado Under-10s and to coaches Alex and Scott, who, in my opinion, are the best coaches in the whole wide world." Well, Harry Williams from Manchester, a massive shout out to you, to your coaches Alex and Scott, and to everybody in your Tornado Under-10s team. I hope you have a fantastic season, both as Manchester United and for the team who you play for. Let's get on with this episode about the brilliant, the fantastic, the marvellous Hannah Hampton. Hannah Alice Hampton was born on the 16th of November in the year of 2000, the millennium year. Hannah was born in Birmingham, England, and she was born with an eye condition, which meant her eyes were disaligned and this affected the quality of her vision. It was severe enough for her to have had 3 operations by the time that she was just 3 years old, and doctors even advised her family when she was younger that she should probably stay away from sports like football. However, from a young age, Hannah took to football like a duck to water. It was absolutely a bit of her. Hannah's mum said that when she was younger, like a tiny little girl, that she would go to a sports shop and Hannah would spot a bin or a basket full of footballs and be off like a puppy that had just spotted a pigeon for the first time. Next thing you know, she would be frantically kicking a football around the shop and through an old age pensioner's legs. Okay, the last bit I'm not sure is true, but you can just imagine it. Hannah was one determined young girl who would point blank refuse to let her eye condition and her sight get in the way of her love of doing things like football. Hannah saw the world a little differently than her friends. This was because her eyes sometimes had trouble figuring out how far away things were. A bit like when you try and catch a ball and you're not sure if it's close or far away. She learned to be smart about it though. For example, when she poured juice, she knew that she had to look right at the glass so she didn't spill it. She also learned a cool trick. She would notice that things that were far away looked smaller and things that were closer looked bigger. This helped her guess how far away these things were. Later, when she became a great goalkeeper in football, the special skills of figuring out and adjusting was very helpful for her. It helped her know exactly when to jump and to catch the football. When Hannah was just 5 years old, her family moved from England to the beautiful land of Spain, where they settled into a small village near Castellón in the east of Spain. Her parents, Chris and Laura, worked as teachers at a British school, and that British school was the school which Hannah attended. Living in Spain turned out to be pretty great for young Hannah's football passion. Every afternoon after classes, she'd be waiting for her parents to finish work in the playground, and this was a great opportunity to practice more football. In Spain, almost every town seems to have an artificial pitch, an AstroTurf pitch. And in the evenings, Hannah would join the other kids, the Spanish ones and the English ones, and play football games whenever she could. She said that you could never really tell who would show up each night, but as long as a few people did, it was always great fun. One remarkable fact is that Hannah didn't start out as a goalkeeper at all. She was initially an outfield player who loved to score goals. I mean, who doesn't like scoring goals? Probably one of the best things about football. In Spain, her talent was noticed early on. She was scouted by the academy of Villarreal, a prominent Spanish club, and she joined their youth team as a striker. This meant that as a little girl she was training with a professional club's academy, which is quite unusual. At the school that Hannah was attending, there wasn't an official football team. You've got to imagine, in Spain they are hot afternoons, so they do other activities, like swimming. Trust me, you'd rather be swimming in 40 degrees heat than running around a football pitch. But playing with the boys and girls on the playground at every opportunity and on the AstroTurfs around Spain was enough for Hannah to really own her skills and get better and better as time went by. Her family have got vivid memories of being at the beach, and while the other kids were in the sea swimming, Hannah would be somewhere on the beach kicking a ball. That is just what Hannah Hampton loved to do. After about 5 years abroad in sunny Spain, it was 2010, and time for the Hamptons to return back to England. Hannah was almost 11 years old when she moved back home, and by this time she already built some solid football foundations, thanks to all the playing and practicing she'd done in España. She had fallen in love with the sport and developed some impressive skills, and at this time she was still seeing herself as a striker. When Hannah was about 12 years old, her youth team's goalkeeper got injured during a warm-up, right before a match. Not ideal at all. The coaches needed someone quickly to step in. They needed someone to be a last-minute goalkeeper. Hannah, fearless and eager to help as ever, shot her hand up and volunteered to go in goal. This turned out to be a life-changing decision. Even though she'd hardly trained as a goalkeeper and, well, I guess naturally didn't really know what she was doing, she gave it her best. She later joked, "I must have had a worldie of a game, because after that an England scout approached me and my family and wanted me to be the goalkeeper for my age group." Rather amazingly, the next week Hannah went back to playing outfield for the team that she was playing for back in England, which was Stoke. And believe it or not, she got noticed once again. This time, someone suggested that she could even be an England striker for her age group. She had 2 offers to pursue. Which path would she go down? She had to make a decision, and after some thought, Hannah decided to stick to the goalkeeper role, since that one magical game had shown her that there was some real potential there. So, at 12 years old, she began training more seriously as a keeper. Still, that transition didn't happen overnight. Hannah actually continued to split her time both out on field and in goal. She could do it both. And I guess what was good about this is she was both good with her hands and she was fast with her feet, something which goalkeepers need to be good at. Switching to goal was exciting for Hannah, but it also came with a challenge. Her eye condition could make judging high-speed balls pretty tricky. And in the early days, learning to be a keeper, she occasionally misjudged some distances, sometimes moving a little too close to a hard shot and ending up with a bloody nose. That happened more than once. Instead of being discouraged or annoyed or frustrated, Hannah treated these as learning experiences. She consciously adjusted her technique, such as changing how she positioned her hands when catching the ball. She had to do all sorts of different things to make it work for her, because sometimes in life you've really got to adapt to overcome, and that is a great skill to have no matter what you're doing. Hannah's hard work began to pay off quickly. Thanks to that England scout, she was soon attending youth national training camps. In fact, at just 12 years old, or around that age, Hannah Hampton played her first match for England's under-15s team, which is pretty unusual because players in that team were quite honestly a bit older than her. It was a double fixture against the Netherlands. Hannah remembers that game vividly. She managed to keep a clean sheet and the game ended 0-0. Another key factor during this period was Hannah's support system. Throughout all of the house moves and the training trips, her family stood strongly behind her at all times. She said, "My family are and always have been incredibly supportive. They were always there for me, driving me around, getting me where I needed to be, and she knows without them, all of this probably wouldn't have happened. In particular, her older brother Ben became one of the most influential people in her life. Ben was an athlete too. He played field hockey and even reached the England national youth level in hockey. Hannah looked up to her brother's dedication and his success. She wanted to make the family just as proud in football as Ben had made them in hockey. The two siblings were very close and they were only 2 years apart. They'd gone through a lot together, from moving to a new country together to learning a new language in Spain, then adjusting back to England, which made them a strong team off the field. Ben often trained with Hannah for fun. He even loved playing as goalkeeper himself. He would do extra practice sessions with her, teaching her techniques and acting as her shooting partner so she could refine her goalkeeping skills. So, with encouraging parents and a brother like that, Hannah had some good people around her and great foundations to push on and go all the way. By her mid-teens, Hannah Hampton was a name on the radar in English girls football. In 2015, at about 15 years old, she made a significant move to advance her development. Hannah left Stokes Academy to join Birmingham City's Regional Talent Centre. This was a top-level academy for girls, and Birmingham City had one of the best setups for young players in the whole country. She was ambitious and wanted to train at the highest level available for her age. Birmingham City women were a strong club in the Women's Super League, and they saw great promise in Hannah. In fact, Birmingham City's academy director at the time, Mark Skinner, personally recruited her after seeing her potential. Hannah continued to excel with Birmingham's youth setup and reserves team, and she was also regularly representing England in a youth international level. She really was doing some fantastic things. Hannah's progress was so fast that she achieved something most players only dream of. She made her senior first team debut for Birmingham City's women's team at just 16 years old. This happened in November 2017 in a League Cup match when the team gave a talented teenager a chance to show her skills on the big stage. Imagine being 16 and playing against adult professional players. It was both nerve-wracking and exciting, but a moment which Hannah had been working at her whole life. Through these teenage years, Hannah's family remained a huge support. There were a lot of sacrifices. Her parents would drive long hours to get her to training and to matches, and eventually the family decided to move home to be closer to where she needed to play. They truly believed in her and her dream and everything she was aiming for. And the sacrifices and hard work just kept paying off, because by the time she was 18, she was becoming a proper star. After establishing herself at Birmingham City, Hannah's career kept gaining momentum. In the summer of 2021, when her contract with Birmingham ended, Aston Villa, another top club in the Women's Super League, signed her on a 2-year deal. Moving to Aston Villa was both a new challenge and a homecoming of sorts, as Villa is based in Birmingham. So she was still playing in front of local fans who knew her, and at Villa she became a regular starting 11. In the summer of 2022, Hannah was selected as one of England's 3 goalkeepers for the UEFA Women's Euro 2022 tournament. She was the youngest of the keepers, learning from the experienced Mary Earps, who was the England number 1. The tournament was hosted in England, and it ended up to be a spectacular tournament indeed. The Lionesses went on to win, and who can forget it? It was England's first major women's trophy. Hannah didn't play in those matches, she was on the bench. But being a part of that victorious team at just 21 years old was incredibly inspiring. She soaked up that experience from her teammates and the coaches and celebrated as football came home that year. However, later in 2022, one of the downs in Hannah's journey appeared. It was the autumn of 2022. She was unexpectedly dropped from the England squad for a period of time. The England head coach, Sarina Wiegman, commented that Hannah had some personal stuff which she needed to solve, and it was better for her to focus on her club at that moment. This was a difficult time for Hannah, as rumours swirled around in the media like they do, and she had to watch from the sidelines while other keepers took her spot. But true to her character and true to form, Hannah didn't give up or sulk. She worked hard to improve herself, both on and off the pitch. Her club, which was Aston Villa, supported her, and so did her family and close friends. In interviews later, Hannah hinted that it had indeed been a tough period, but also a learning experience. After this ad break, we'll look at when Hannah joined Chelsea and take you all the way up to the present day, including that fantastic Euro 2025 tournament where Hannah was a hero. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or Patreon, well, you won't be hearing this because it's completely ad-free. For everyone else, back in a mo. A fresh chapter began when Chelsea FC, one of the top women's side in England, signed Hannah Hampton in July 2023. This was a big move to a big team full of star players and, let me tell you, high expectations. At Chelsea, Hannah had to compete with other quality goalkeepers, but she gradually earned her place. She even became the first choice keeper for Chelsea and helped the club win a domestic treble, the league title, the FA Cup and the League Cup. Playing at Chelsea just made Hannah even better than she already was. She's always been about development and putting the work in, and the results have been clear. And by May 2025, a significant change occurred. Mary Earps, the long-time England #1 and absolutely legendary player who we've done an episode on, retired from international football. And Hannah was confirmed as the new first-choice goalkeeper for England. But everyone that knew Hannah and had worked with her and trained with her and watched her over the years knew that she was the player to fill Mary Earps' position. In July 2025, during the UEFA Women's Euro 25 tournament, Hannah truly had some magical moments on the field. In the quarter-final against Sweden, she found herself in a tense penalty shootout, one of the tensest penalty shootouts I've ever watched. During extra time, she had taken a knock to the face that caused a nosebleed. She humorously stuffed a tissue up her nostrils and just kept playing, because that's just what she does. Despite the bloody nose, Hannah stayed focused on saving 2 penalties in the shootout, a huge moment that sent England through to the semi-finals. In the Euro 2025 final, which went to penalties again, Hannah once again rose to the occasion. She studied her opponents and how they take their penalties, like the Ballon d'Or winner Bon Mati, and went on to save some remarkable shots. She was diving the right way and blocking the kicks, and making England believe as every single penalty went by. England went on to win the Euro 2025 trophy, and because of that, England defended the European title and were the first to win a major tournament on foreign soil, and the fans just couldn't get enough of Hannah Hampton. Amid all of these achievements, Hannah has remained grounded and close to her loved ones. In fact, just before the Euro 2025 tournament kicked off, Hannah experienced some personal heartbreak. Her beloved grandfather passed away 2 days before the tournament. It was a very emotional time, but she decided to dedicate her performance to her grandpa's memory. She even inscribed the word grandpa inside her England jersey collar as a tribute. After England won, she posted a message to say, "I hope I made you proud, Grandpa. I carried you through every minute." Well, I'm sure you already know this, Hannah, but you absolutely did. Hannah's journey from her childhood to today has been filled with challenges, from eye surgery to competitive setbacks, but also filled with triumphs. From learning football on a Spanish playground to saving penalties in a European Championship final. Her story shows that talent, perseverance and support from your loved ones can combine to turning a dream into a reality. Hannah Hampton is yet another example of why, no matter the circumstances, whatever the dream is, whatever the goal is, whatever it is you are chasing, you must never ever give up. If you do give up, you can guarantee that it will never happen. But if you keep going, it just might. So remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about Football for Kids. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.